Hey y'all, I'm Michael. Welcome back to Stucky's Lawn Hiring Tinkering Shed. Today we're going to build a cattle trough with a storage tank and the ram pump, straight ram pump that we tried to utilize for the pond that wasn't going to work because the spring feed wasn't fast enough current. We're going to utilize that coming out of the creek to fill and store water for the cattle come this fall. The beautiful thing about this is not only is the water going to feed the main tank and then come off with almost like a float valve that you would see in a toilet to fill the trough. But once the float valve shuts off, it'll continue filling the tank and we'll have a runoff spout out the top, just before the top edge, coming out the side, running back into the creek. So it's constantly circulating clean water. It'll be something that you can utilize on your farm and save yourself a lot of time and hassle and a lot of cost of water. It's a natural resource. Hey y'all, alright, so step one, as you can see this is your trough base design. Sorry for the sketch, it's kind of terrible, I know, but you get the gist. You kind of cut your 4x4 post 18 inches tall. And, you want a fairly good sized workspace, but that's step one. Next, we're going to be cutting the sideboards, which are 2x6s at 45 and 5/8 long. And they'll go from the outside here all the way over to the outside here. Okay, and then step three is you're going to cut the inside boards, these three, and they're 43.5 inches long, and they'll run from the inside here to the inside here, one on both ends, and then one down the center to barrels to give barrel support. And then we'll move on to step four. Stay tuned. Okay, so here we have step one, two boards, the outside boards cut at 45 and 5/8. Next, we're going to move to the three inside boards at 43.5. Okay, so now that you got all three 43.5 inch, sorry it's upside down, all three 43.5 inch boards cut, they go on the inside for supports of the barrels. Next, you're going to want to cut your top rail at 36.5 inches. Okay, that goes across from the inside, or actually it'll be shorter, I got to remeasure it. But you're going to have two of them because you need one for the outside for the tower. So the 36.5 will go from the outside to the outside of the 4x4 on the back side of them. And then you're going to cut one to go in the center between the two for both sides. Alright, so after remeasuring, I was right. Your top inside board is going to be 36.5. We need to cut one more of them. And then you have your back side, which is going to mount your standing storage tank, and that's 46.5. And that'll be going on the outside bottom and the outside top. Okay, and that's where you're going to build off your stand tank. But let's get one more of these 36.5 cut. They go on the inside like that from post to post, and that's to mount the top of the barrel too, top half of the barrel too, so they don't spill. We'll get one more of them cut, and then we'll go outside and we'll get the layout set up. We'll show you it, we'll tack it all together and start on the tower. Alright, I hope you can hear me. Step one of the build is you're going to attach your 4x4 18 inch with your long boards on the outsides. Then you're going to stand it up so you can attach your step two, which is your barrel supports. And you have three of them. Okay, there's your top ledge barrel supports. That, when the barrel's cut in half, that'll stop it from spilling out once you anchor the corners. Okay. Next, we're going to fix board to the back, on the bottom. Oh, excuse me. A board on the bottom here, like so, and a board on the top. Alright, and that'll give you the support to nail on the 40-inch 4x4s for your tower. Alright, see these two outer bottom board and the upper board? That's going to be your support to mount your storage tank stand. You'll bolt your 4x4s to it. Now I put a little lip up on it just to give a little higher support for the table, but either way it'll work out beautifully. Alright, so next we start building the storage tank. Okay, so now we get started on the tank table. And you're going to want to have your tank pretty much centered. Okay, and you're going to want to keep 4 inches from the barrel to the wall, to the trough, so that way you can come out with your 90 at the bottom of the tank and go down and go into the trough with your float valve. Alright. That's step one of the layout. As you can see, this will go like that, and then you'll have another one on each of the back corners, all 4 corners, and you put a table on it. The barrel will stand up. At the bottom of this top rail will be the bottom of your table, or the seat of your table for your storage tank. Alright, now that's your trough bottom. That's your main support, built and ready to go. We have to add a top rail here and a top rail there on the inside to anchor the top halves of the barrel so they don't spill. And then we get to start in the next set, which is going to be the storage tank. Alright, so we have all 4 4x4s cut at 40 inches. Alright, now you're going to want to measure from the top outside to the top outside of the barrel. And that gives you, if we get her to stay, 23.5 inches. Alright, so the width inside 4x4 to 4x4 is 23.5. But you want to add the 4-inch gap for your fittings to go down and through to your float. So you have 23.5 here, but you're going to add 4, so you want 27.5. So it's 23.5 by 27.5. And that'll be your framing for your tank support. Okay, so you want to cut 6 boards at 30.5 inches, and that's going to give you your bottom structural support and then your decking support for your tank to sit on. You might actually want to cut 7 to get one down the center, which we'll do now. We'll cut a 7th just to be sure. And then you have your 4x4s at 40 inches, and you're ready to start putting her together. Okay, so now the table top is decked in, framed in. Now, as you can see, I pinched this end in tighter to give the back of the barrel a little support when the cattle are knocking it around. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it's a little bit help. And we'll run an extra rail around the top border just to give it, tip leniency. We'll snug it in a bit. But that's your framing for the top. And that's how your barrel, you can see it, will sit on it. There we go. Now your second barrel is going to get cut in half, and that'll lay in that first part over here. But this is how your main storage tank, once it's fully decked, it'll sit right in here. Alright. Stay tuned. Alright, now we have her decked out. Got a little gap that's all right. Don't need to be perfect. It's going to be out in the field for the cattle. Just needs to be efficient. Not bad. All right. Now to do a top railing as extra support. All right, there she is with the tank, with the top railing. Next, we'll cut the second barrel, lay her in, dry fit her, then we'll rinse her out and bolt her in place. And the only thing left then would be the plumbing and taking it down to the field, hooking up the ram pump into the creek. Stay tuned. Now you take your second barrel and you draw a line down its seam from front to back all the way around. You cut it, clean the edges, wash it out real good. Then I'll show you, we'll lay it in there, get it laid out, lined up, and we'll bolt it in, bolt it together. Alright, as you can see, my water tanks have an orange inside, and that's because they were used, they're FDA approved food grade, but they came from an aquaponics facility where they raise snails and other types of bottom eating fish. So that's why it's stained orange. But trust me, they are 100% healthy. I'll even drink out of it myself if I need to. I did make a mistake building this, and I made this rail on both sides a little bit too long. So it's got to get cut and moved in, the outside rail, and re-anchored. I'll do that next, and then we'll anchor in our barrels and start on the plumbing. Okay, we got that cut back and shortened and re-secured. Now, give this a bit of a nudge. There we go. We'll get them. This seam here will get bolted together, 3 going across, and then we'll screw it up here, screw it here, here, and here, and then coming across. That'll anchor the barrels into place, and then we get to the next pot. Okay, so as you can see, you have 1 bolt in each corner, and then 3 bolts to bind them together, and she's anchored in. She ain't gonna go nowhere. Next, we're gonna tap a hole about here, a couple inches up off the bottom, come out with a 90, go down, and then we're gonna come through the 1 into over here with a float, and over here we're gonna drill through and put a coupling from one side to the other, so that won't shut off until both are full. It'll work out good if we can get them at the right measurements. Plumbing is next. Alright, now here we have the plumbing. I had to take out that back support brace. It's alright though, it's still anchored in the corners. But for the plumbing, we have a 3/4 threaded 90 going to a 3/4 to 1/2 inch reducer to a 1/2 inch elbow, to a slip 90 1/2 inch to a 1/2 inch union. Then we go down to a slip coupling to thread coupling combo, to a slip to threaded 90 to our float valve. And over here, if you can see, there we go. We put through a pipe so it'll fill from one side to the other, and that's just a 1/2 inch pipe siliconed in, which, by the way, the threaded 90 is not only Tefloned into the support stand tank, but it's also siliconed. And that, let's see if we can get a good view of the whole thing. There we go. Look at that, she's sexy. That's ready for cattle. Take her down by the creek in the upper back field, hook up the ram pump. Now that, for the ram pump, we're going to need 1 more fitting in at the bottom on the back side, and then 1 coming out the top The one coming in on the bottom will be inflow. The one on top will be overflow back out, so it's continuously circulating water. But we'll do that when we hook up the ram pump. That'll be the next video. I hope you all enjoyed building with us here on Stuckey's Land Heron. And the top railing is a little makeshift, but it's the only thing that's makeshift out of it. And it doesn't really need to bear any weight. It's just supporting in case the cattle bump against it. And there she is, all the way around. Until next time, y'all.